What a finale. Like, yeah, FYI, if you don't know, this is the final episode of Sword Art Online Season 3 until October this year. That means we gotta go through spring and summer of anime. Then this series will return. So it's a little bit of a wait. Yeah, it's about 5-6 months until then. It's pretty much gonna be the end of the year. Time we finally get around to seeing the conclusion of this season. What a rough cliffhanger. Honestly, I'm inclined to go and read the light novel, because that was brutal. So anyways, Yu-Gi-Oh! He died. I want to be honest here. I'm pretty shocked. Like, look, as much as I want SAO to succeed, I never thought Yu-Gi-Oh! Was going to die. That's something I just did not think was going to happen. It might have been a possibility, but I just did not think that was legitimately going to happen. Like, he was going to die. And he died. He gone. Dead. And I'm just like, okay. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Just legit died. Honestly, I'm pretty impressed right now with SEO because Kirito just lost so much. Like, okay, let's just look at the L's this man has taken. Number one, he lost Yu-Gi-Oh!, which has been a major asset to part 3, or like season 3 of SEO. Like, he has been, like, mirror Kirito. He has been someone that's trained alongside of Kirito, and it's even been stated that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has the potential to even surpass Kirito. He had so much potential. He's such a strong fighter, and his character was constantly being mirrored to be Kirito. And then you see him die, and you're like, okay, I guess this series is no longer the same. And that's just the first thing. After that, the old Alice, she died. I don't know how many caught that, because you could easily not really interpret that scene right, but the whole scene with Yu-Gi-Oh! Talking with a younger version of Alice was the younger version of Alice dying alongside of Yu-Gi-Oh! So yeah, just FYI, the crystal that was used was the younger Alice's memories, and a whole exchange between Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh! When they're like, we would have to fight over the Alice or whatever, they were basically talking about, Kirito, you're someone as an individual, you don't want to get rid of this Alice, the current, Integrity Knight Alice. You don't believe in getting rid of that personality, because she is still her own person. Even if she isn't childhood Alice, she still is her own person. She's made her own decisions. And as Yu-Gi-Oh! Said, he would want the childhood Alice to be back. So they would have a dispute, a fight, for who would be who. Who would be able to be the main Alice in this world. And that was the entire exchange. And so Yu-Gi-Oh! Was like, look, I definitely think we would have probably fought over which Alice would be the main Alice. And that's why he basically was like, you know what? I'm glad I'm dying. I'm glad that everything's A-okay and I'm dying, because I won't have to turn my blade against you ever again, because, he feels just so upset about himself for what he did already a few episodes back, and so he was happy to be able to die, and he was happy to be able to just move on, and so he died with childhood Alice, because that's what the entire scene meant. He went on, they died together, and so there is no way that Kirito can gain back the two individuals that he technically grew up with, because just as a brief FYI, to kind of clear up the air and let everybody remember, Kirito was put into this world, the underworld, okay? And he did technically grow up as a child, a baby, up into the, later ages, around, 8 or 10 or whatever, and then he was yanked back out or whatever, and then he was put in a few years later, basically a few years later in this world, not the outside world. It was just, a couple of days. But the point is that Kirito technically grew up with Alice and Yu-Gi-Oh! And with their deaths, it's very significant. It's like his two childhood friends died before him, and he couldn't do anything about it, and he did legit remember. It was stated that he remembered in this episode, he felt it, but they died, and so he lost his family, his friends in this world, completely gone in an instant. That's sad. So, automatically, two big things he lost there. Then, on top of that, the ending of this episode, his Fluctlight gets damaged. There's a power surge which strikes him, and you see the entire area around him just start to glitch out, which really says a lot about that scene, because it's stated that because of the power surge, it's going to affect Kirito's brain, which I'm going to assume that Kirito's going to be A-okay, because right now he is the title character. However, I feel like there will be some big consequences to probably getting a power surge on your brain. Anything that messes with your brain is not going to be good. I have a sinking suspicion that it's probably going to play a major role for the remainder of this arc. For instance, Underworld until Season 3 ends, just because of what that power surge most likely could do. It probably damaged his brain. It might have given him slight brain damage. That's a possibility. It could have happened. I mean, I do know that the headgear they have does protect against certain things like surges, but I don't think it probably ever prepared for what was happening in this episode with the military surge or whatever. So I don't really know. I would have to reread on the headgear that Kirito was wearing, but it definitely probably caused a little bit of brain damage to where he probably won't be able to do much, I would say, in Season 3, like the later half. So he's going to definitely need some help, and Alice is probably going to have to protect him. That's what I'm assuming is going to happen. But okay, anyways, let's talk about the outside situation before I get back into the stuff in the underworld. The outside situation's a mess as well. It was hinted at in the early stages of Season 3 that there was some problems on the outside. There was obviously a scientist that was a little bit corrupt and doing some things. He was messing with the program's AI. For instance, the administrator, her entire upbringing and why she was the way she was because of some scientist on the outside messing with her, causing her to kind of be evil. And then she also was in contact with a certain person she mentioned quite a few times in this episode and last, so it's obvious that there's someone out there that was working with her and working against the main project. And so I'm assuming the people that are attacking, or the people that, you know, the administrator was in contact with, at least with their affiliated group. And it doesn't just stop there. That group that is attacking, what do they want? Well, if I had to assume anything, let's look at the main point of what this world was about, this VR. It was literally a military program to create artificial intelligence to be combat ready to fight on the battlefield. It would save human lives. And obviously technology like that advanced, would garner the attention of certain governments, certain countries. They would want that technology. And so, as soon as they find out that this group has the capabilities of creating an AI that can fight on the battlefield, there will be a lot of interest in that. So, that's most likely the case here, is that they want that technology, that, you know, info, to be able to create their own underworld, to be able to do what they want, and now it's basically them trying to defend this server from this organization that wants to create even more problems. So, Kirito's obviously getting wrapped up in it, because now he's, I'm assuming, going to be stuck in the world for a while, unless he's dead, which I doubt he's dead, but he's going to definitely be stuck in that world for a while, which could potentially make him in their hands as well, because you gotta remember, even if, you know, Austin and all them probably get his body and all that and out of there, he's technically directly connected to that network or whatever, and if they kind of gain control of that, I wonder if it will be easy to get Kirito out of that, or if there's some fail-safes where they can't just yank him out of it. So that would mean that he would technically, even if his body is there, he would still be in enemy hands in the virtual reality world. That's also a possibility. So yeah, it's pretty scary to think about that. What's going on right now? Kirito is in a bad state. He probably can't even defend himself. It might actually be a little bit different this second time around. For instance, Season 3, he might be needing to be the one to get saved instead of him saving others. Now, let's get into the underworld stuff again. So, the administrator. She was literally about to die in this episode, and before she died, Chudelkin came in and went for the quick save. That man... Oh yeah, I want to laugh first thing. Like, the man wanted the administrator so much, he went after her and basically died with her. Like, oh my god. Like, man got what he wanted in death at the very least. He literally got what he wanted. But the point here is that Chudelkin, his entire scene, he's definitely MVP. He stopped a major problem, because if the administrator would have gotten out, it could have been so much worse. But there is a possibility that Chudelkin potentially did get out with the administrator. Let me explain. I was under the impression that, like, another theory I had while watching that was that potentially their souls were merging, because we know that she was transferring herself into the other world, and Chudelkin jumped in, and then, you know, she disappeared, and there is a possibility her overall data got transferred, which means that Chudelkin and her mixed together as one soul into a body, which could definitely lead into a really messed up situation in later on, maybe for a potential villain or whatever, and, you know, the Administrator's just this monster that's not what she once was. I assume that at this time, that they might have fused, but if not, Chudelkin's MVP, he stopped a major problem by just, you know, dying for what he wanted. But okay, what else is there really to talk about? Let's see, I talked about Yujio's death, Alice, Kirito. I mean, let's talk about dual wielding, I guess. So, Kirito, he dual wielded in this episode, and honestly, it wasn't really the main spotlight to think about it. Like, it was important to the episode, but it wasn't really focused that much. It wasn't. And when you really think about it, he didn't even use Starburst Stream. I mean, it might have shown it in the visuals, but I don't think we actually saw him actually use Starburst Stream, which is kind of sad, but he did get disarmed pretty quickly. Like, I was surprised that his arm just got completely severed, chopped off instantly, and which ruined his dual wielding. Pretty violent, by the way, but he got his arm chopped off, which meant he wasn't really able to use Starburst Stream anymore, which, by the way, I love how he's using the Incarnation system, because that goes along with what I was talking about a few episodes back with his character development. When he dons that armor now, he's basically put aside his past, he's willing to move forward, and, you know, he looks at this world as no longer a game. He looks at it like real life, and that's kind of what that armor meant when he donned it. So, I like that scene when he dons it, and when you see how he gets the other sword and he lifts it up, and they both, you know, he starts wielding both swords to fight, you know, the Administrator. It's a great scene because it demonstrates his character development and how far he's come, but even then, he still was slightly bested. I mean, he did do damage, he was able to stop the Administrator, but in a way, he didn't get a full-on win. They both were incredibly damaged, and they both barely survived it at all. Well, it's up in the air what really happened to the Administrator, and Kirito, his situation, because of the power surge, we don't really know. But overall, when it came to the fight, though, it was kind of like a draw. That's kind of how I view it. So that's pretty much about it. Episode is good. It's just going to be a long wait and to see, you know, the continuation of what's going to happen in the story. I'm kind of sad about that, but, you know, I guess the wait will be worth it. I might read ahead. I don't know. It just really depends. I might just, at the very least, reread these scenes that the anime adapted just to see what was changed, what was not, just to see how it was overall. But yeah, that's about it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, you know, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.